Broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good morning, everyone. We're going to get started here right at the top of the hour, so about 2 more minutes. But for those of you that have already signed in, if you could locate your chat window and just let me know if you can hear me all right. Just make sure that all of our tech is working before we get started. You should also be able to see my screen. You should see a slide saying using your content marketing tools. So you could just take a second to locate your chat window. Let me know if you can hear me all right, if you can see my screen all right, and we'll get started here right at 9 o'clock. All right, good morning, everyone. It is 9 o'clock, so I am going to get started. I like to sort of try to stay on schedule best that I can. I know it is a morning webinar, so some people are signing in first thing in the morning, so I appreciate you joining in. I know a few people are still signing in, but I am going to get started with just some of the basic housekeepings and introductions for today's webinar. Today we are going to be talking about using your content marketing tools. These are the content marketing tools that come with your Build Your Firm website. We're going to talk a little bit about, how to utilize some of these tools for your content marketing strategy. A few housekeeping things. If you haven't already, locate the chat box as part of your GoToWebinar widget. That's where you can pop any questions that you might have for me in there. I will be answering questions at the end of the webinar. But any questions that you have or anything that you need to share, you can post right in there for me to see. I also am recording today's webinar, so it should be up on the webinar library in about 24 hours. If you need to rewatch it or you want somebody else in your firm to watch it, this same webinar will also be run again. I'm teaching it again in about 2 weeks. So if you missed it or you wanted somebody else to watch it, we will be doing it again in about 2 weeks. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Callie Bransifort. I'm the content marketing manager here at Build Your Firm. This means I basically do everything from assist clients with their websites to write and adjust search engine optimized content. I manage local listings, social media accounts, build pay-per-click campaigns. Essentially, I focus on anything that's going to help our clients further get found online and generate new leads from the internet. I did recognize a lot of the names on today's registration, but some of you are definitely people I haven't had the pleasure to sort of chat with before, so I'm glad we have the chance to at least sort of connect in this webinar. I'll give you a few fun facts about me so you can get to know me a little bit better. I am a dog person. I have 2 dogs. You can see them here. This is Austin and Zoe. I'm a morning person, so a morning webinar works great for me. Mostly a morning person just because I'm a coffee person, and mornings usually mean coffee. And lastly, I am currently expecting my first child, which is obviously something I'm very excited about. I'm also telling you this because I am bound to get out of breath a little in today's webinar because that is just one of the side effects of being pregnant. So I'm just forewarning you, you may have to bear with me a little bit. It's about an hour-long webinar. I promise I'm not doing this webinar while also running on a treadmill. What we are going to cover in today's webinar, this is sort of our quick little agenda. We're going to talk about what is content marketing, and then we're going to talk about the tools that come with your Build Your Firm website that can sort of help you address content marketing. So this involves your content library, your email newsletter, your social media posting tool, a blog, as well as local listings. And we're going to talk about the different ways that you can essentially attack your content marketing strategy so that you can implement it for your firm. I said it really briefly at the beginning, but since a couple more of you have signed on since then, we are recording today's webinar, and you are welcome to ask any questions that you have throughout the webinar inside of the chat window. I am flying solo on today's webinar, so I'm going to be saving all of the questions for the end, but I will stay on as long as you guys want for any questions you might have. At any point throughout the webinar, feel free to put your questions into the chat box, and I will get to them at the end of the webinar. But let's go ahead and get started here. Before I dive into the real content of the webinar, I just want to quickly discuss the client dashboard, since this is where most of the tools that we're going to be talking about in today's webinar are accessible from. So as a Build Your Firm website client, you get more than just your website with us. You also get access to what we call the client dashboard, which is kind of like the back end of your website. It's a one-stop shop for all of the tools and features that come with your website. And it's really designed to help you market your practice and run things a little more smoothly and make things easier for you. And today we're going to cover some of these features that are available in the content in your client dashboard. Now, if this dashboard is completely new news to you and you've never been in it, you can access it by going to buildyourfirm.com/resources. You get login credentials to this when your website first goes live, but if you've misplaced your login credentials, you can always contact myself or anyone on the web team to get them. So I just want to actually pop out of here and go to a live demo of the client dashboard and just give you a quick little overview of it. If you haven't been in it before, if you have, you've seen this before, I'll just sort of run through it really quickly. But when you're logged into your dashboard, you're going to be presented basically with three menus here. You have the website menu, the lead generation menu, and the tools menu. So on the left is the website menu, where you can come for support and help videos on everything pertaining specifically to your website, like your email, your website analytics. It's also where you can access the webinar library that I talked about a little bit earlier. Every time there's a webinar, I will post the webinars in this webinar library later so that you can watch it again, or if you missed it, that's where they all live. The next menu is the lead generation menu, and these are the things that are designed to help you generate more leads online. So you have things like your content library, the newsletter tool, reputation management. These are the things we're really going to focus on in today's webinar. And then lastly, you have your tools menu, which includes Protected Exchange, which is your secure file sharing tool, which comes with your website. It's available to you at any hosting level. If you're not already using it, it's a great way to send your files securely, as well as BizPayO, which is also available with your website. Allows you to securely, but also just really easily get paid online at $0 net cost. A little further down in the client dashboard, there are some support buttons for common needs like requesting changes to your website, updating your payment information, opening tech trouble tickets, and so on. So like I said, today what we're really going to be focusing on is these middle items, the content marketing tools and lead generation items. But if you ever want to know about any of the other tools that come with your website, if some of this seemed new to you, you can always log into your dashboard after the webinar and access them all. I will be sending you an email about an hour after today's webinar with links to all of this stuff if you haven't logged into it before. Or you can always email me or email anybody at support. We're happy to help you get in. So just to get an idea of my audience that I have listening today, I'm just curious who has been in the client dashboard before. So I'm going to put a poll here up on your screen. Take a second. Let me know if you have ever used the client dashboard. I'll give you a few seconds here to get your answers in. All right, I'm going to close the poll here. Looks like we have a good mix of people who have used different, let me share the results here so you can see them. A good mix of people who have used all sorts of different access to the client dashboard. Some of you who's used it often. A good chunk of you, more of you know about it but have never logged in, and then some of you didn't even know it existed, so that's fine. So let me get the PowerPoint back up here, and we're going to sort of dive into some of the tools and get started here. All right, let me close these results out and let's dive into some of the content here. I want to start by really going over content marketing, the content marketing tools that come with your site, like I said. But first, I really want to cover what exactly is content marketing. So let's sort of cover that first. Now, a basic definition of content marketing is that it's a strategic marketing tactic focused on distributing valuable, relevant content to attract a target audience. So the easy way that I like to think about it is that content marketing is really all about increasing your online reach. So you have a website, but you do more than just having a website. You do more to support it. With the growing competition to show up in search engines like Google, the algorithms are always changing to require more than just a website to ensure higher placement in the search engines, to ensure that prospective clients can find you. So content marketing really helps to address many of these things. So in addition to a search engine optimized website, you would do things like claim your listings on Yelp and Google Business. You would take the time to get some online reviews. You would maybe write in a blog. You would grow your presence on maybe LinkedIn. You would post content that's valuable and relevant to what you do out on that social media platform. Essentially, it's just sort of about growing your online presence and increasing the amount of places that potential clients can find you, knowing that just sort of the scope of how people use the internet is always changing. And when they do find you, they can see that you're offering valuable content, you're offering expert services, and you're someone that they can really trust. Now, the reason that we know content marketing works for accountants is not only because we've been doing the legwork for our clients and seen results, we've been doing it for many, many years, but we also understand what it takes to be successful in getting found online by prospective clients. We know that over 90% of people turn to the internet to find professional services like accounting services and tax services. But we also know that a lot of accounting firms are failing to capture these new leads because they sort of struggle to break through the clutter. The competition, like I said, is growing every single year. Everyone's got a website now, so it's really thinking about what can you do to break through the clutter and make yourself stand out. And I'm sure this is something that maybe you've struggled with in your own firm, and it's part of the reason that you're joining today's webinar. Now, certainly having a website with Build Your Firm is going to help you, because the first thing we do is we build all of our websites with SEO built in. We believe that your website should be easy to find online, and by building your website with SEO, it helps you rank higher in the search engines, making it easier to get found. But the content marketing combined with a strong SEO website is the real key to getting leads on the internet, especially in 2018 and beyond. So by employing content marketing strategies, you are getting an increased visibility to your target audience. You're also building a positive online reputation. You're positioning yourself as an expert, and you're improving your SEO ranking for your firm's name, your firm's website, and your firm's location. You're also building trust, authority, and loyalty. But I know that what probably a lot of you are thinking right now is I say some of this stuff, or what you're sort of feeling, and that's overwhelmed. This is a lot of stuff that I just mentioned that I'm sort of talking about needing to get done, right? Setting up Google Business, setting up Yelp, getting reviews, writing content, maybe a blog, a newsletter, social media, it all kind of just starts to feel like one more thing to add to your never-ending to-do list. So what I want to talk about now a little bit is how we can make content marketing a little bit more manageable and attainable to you, so that you don't end up like this person on my screen, just totally overwhelmed with too many things to do. So when it comes to content marketing, there's basically two routes that you can choose to go. You can either outsource your content marketing to somebody else, or you can choose to DIY it. You can choose to do it yourself. So let's cover the pros and cons of both. Outsourcing it, obviously, you're going to be paying for this. It's going to be, a cost associated with it to have somebody else to do it for you. There is the risk, depending on who you choose to outsource to, that they may not understand your industry. They may not understand, what it takes, for an accounting firm. They may not understand content marketing for an accounting firm, and they may lack some personalization because they don't fully know your firm really, really well. They're not a complete member of your team. Obviously, the nice things about outsourcing is that it's totally hands-off. You don't need to worry about it. It ensures that your content marketing is done consistently and that it's always being completed. A big problem we see lots of times with our accounting firms is that things like content marketing tasks happen for a little while and then they fall off. You get busy with tax season or tax deadline and you sort of forget about it for a little while, and so there's not that consistency. And obviously outsourcing it to somebody ensures that it's getting done consistently. And it ensures that it's being done correctly. We talked about a lot of different things that get involved in content marketing, from blogging to newsletters to social media. And if that's not something you're comfortable with, it's like reinventing the wheel. You have to learn all of these platforms. You may not be doing it 100% correctly. And obviously by outsourcing it to somebody, you know that it's getting done correctly. As far as doing it yourself, obviously some of the cons is going to be that it's going to take your time or someone on your firm's time to do it. And that, there's that chance that there's going to be some confusion there if you're trying to teach yourself new platforms or, take on new tasks that you haven't done before. There's going to be a learning curve associated with it. Obviously, it's going to be a much more affordable option. You're not going to be paying for it. You're either going to be doing it yourself or, like I said, having a staff member do it for you. It's going to allow you to totally personalize your content marketing as well. So you can make sure that it's really personalized for your firm and for your services. Now, if you do choose to go the DIY route, if you choose to do it yourself, your Build Your Firm client dashboard is really going to help you. Like we previously previewed just a few minutes ago, your website comes with access to the client dashboard, which has access to all of these things. You have access to the newsletter tool, which is going to allow you to set up recurring newsletters, to send out valuable content. You have access to the social media posting wizard, so you can easily just post content out to your social medias from the content library. There's also helpful guides in there to walk you through setting up your local listings like Google and Yelp and so on, to make that process a little bit easier. All of these tools, as well as information about getting set up on a blog, or if you need to get set up on a blog, we can help you do that as well. So all of these things are available as Build Your Firm tools. So I want to dive into some of these tools now, but before we do that, I have another question for you. I'm curious which Build Your Firm tools you guys have used. So I'm going to launch another poll up on your screen. And just take a second, let me know which tools you have used before so I can get an idea of who has used what tools. Great, I'm going to close it in just a few seconds here. You obviously can choose all but apply, but it looks like we've got people all over the place. Most of you not using tons of the tools, which is fine. It's good because we're going to be talking about most of these tools today and sort of how you can implement them and use them a little bit more. I'm going to close this pull down here in just a second. All right. Great. So thank you. That was helpful. We've got, like I said, some of you using the email newsletter tool. Some of you, about just maybe one or two of you, have been into the content library. A good chunk of you using Protected Exchange, which is great. We're not talking about that tool specifically in today's webinar, but I'm glad that you guys are taking advantage of that. But definitely some more tools that you guys can be using, and then I'm hoping that I can introduce you to today in today's webinar. So we'll start by just talking a little bit about the content library. Most of our content marketing tools that we're going to be talking about today are tied to the content library. The content library comes with your website. If you've never seen it before, it's a library of over 400 accounting and tax articles, QuickBooks articles, business-related articles, and these are all available for you to use as part of your website service. And we're going to talk about today how they integrate with some of the tools so that you can take advantage of them. This content lives inside of your client dashboard. It also lives on your website. So it's content that your clients or prospective clients can access from your website, but also it's available inside of the client dashboard and inside a lot of the tools like the social media posting wizard and the email newsletter tool. So we're going to start by talking about the email newsletter tool first and how you can use it for content marketing. So the newsletter tool is available from the client dashboard under lead generation. If you've never used it before, it looks like maybe about a quarter of you have used it. It is a fully functional email newsletter tool, and it allows you to do everything that you would need to do, whether you want to send a one-time newsletter or you want to set up a recurring newsletter to get sent out sort of on autopilot. The nice thing about an email newsletter tool is that it's just a really efficient way to guide and inform clients on what they should be doing. It allows you to stay top of mind with your clients because you're sending out consistent information to them. It allows you to retain clients for the same reason. Also allows you to position yourself as an expert because when you're sending out these newsletters, you're sending it out with valuable articles. Like I said, articles about tax, about accounting, about business best practices, and it allows you to really connect with your prospective clients. So once you're inside of the email newsletter tool, this is sort of what your dashboard is going to look like, and you can access anything that you would need to start setting up your email newsletters from here. In the top menu is the mailing list, and this is where you would create your mailing list categories. You can import your mailing lists from an Excel file. You can edit your mailing lists, update mailing list recipients. It's a really easy tool to just organize all of your mailing lists recipients into different categories so you can easily send out newsletters to them. And then there's 3 different kinds of newsletters you can send from the system. The first one is the send once option. This allows you to set up an email that's just going to get sent out one time. This is really good for crafting newsletters about something that's maybe timely, letting them know about tax laws, informing clients about due dates or other, timely related information. And you can schedule these to get sent out right away, or you can schedule them out for any day in the future. So we do have some clients that will come in and schedule kind of a handful of one-time newsletters to go out in the future, and then they know everything's getting sent out. Using the send once option, you can choose a specific articles from the content library to include inside of the newsletter as well. So if you have really specific articles that you want to pick and choose and you know exactly what articles you want to send them, then the send once option is a great way to do this. It's basically the most custom newsletter that you can send because you get to pick and choose exactly what you want it to do. The next option is the recurring newsletter, and I would say this is probably the most popular option that the majority of our clients use, and that is because it's recurring. You can just sort of set it and forget it. You log in one time, you choose who you want to send it to, the categories of articles you want the system to send from, you set a schedule maybe once a month, and then the system's going to automatically send these newsletters out to your mailing list, including articles from the content library. And if you joined in on Tuesday's webinar, we went through a whole demo of how to set up a recurring newsletter. That is in the webinar library if you missed it, if you want to see how to set up a recurring newsletter. But like I said, it's really nice because it's a set it and forget it thing. You upload your mailing list contacts, you set up a recurring newsletter, and you know that it's going out for you every single month or every single week or whatever schedule you set it on. The system even has some holiday greetings in here, things like messages for holidays, so like New Year's, Independence Day. There's also generic ones like thank yous and congratulations. If you ever wanted to send those out, it is available as well inside of the newsletter system. So when your newsletter sends, it's going to look something like this. Is sort of an example of one of the newsletters. And some of the features that you have are, it's obviously going to be branded with your logo at the top here. So you can brand it with your logo or just with your firm's name if you don't have a logo file. You have the option to add your own text at the top, so you can really personalize it, something that we encourage you guys do, that you know, add a little intro at the beginning to sort of personalize it for your firm. Maybe you sign your name or you put your email address, your phone number, or however you want to do it. You can upload your own images to this. You can see here there's just a stock image, but you can upload your own images to the newsletter system. And then there's always going to be some of those pre-written accounting and tax articles. These are going to give the title, a little excerpt of the article, and then a link for the person to click to read the entire article. And when they click that link, it actually sends them to your website to read the article. Like I said, all of these articles live on your site, so it's driving traffic to your site, which is really great. And then there's also a custom footer down at the bottom. You can have a custom bottom menu to send people to specific links, have your social media integration, and obviously an opt-out for unsubscribing. So that is what the email newsletter will sort of look like for you. The next tool that I want to talk about that uses the articles from the content library is going to be the social media posting wizard that lives inside of the content library. And this tool allows you to push content out to social media accounts. So I want to talk about social media just really briefly before we talk about the social media posting wizard. And so I'm curious who is using social media right now and what social medias you're using. So I'm going to put another poll here up on your screen. Choose all that apply. What social medias are you currently using? And if you're not using any, then you don't have to choose any. All right, great. I'm going to close this poll down here in a second. Looks like actually, see if I can share these results with you guys just to give you an idea. Looks like almost half of you using LinkedIn, which is great. LinkedIn is one of the you know, if we're going to suggest a social media, usually one of the top ones that we suggest. Some of you using Facebook, a good chunk of you using Twitter, and then some of you using some of the other social medias as well. So we've got a little bit of everything. So that's good. It's helpful for me to know what social medias you're using as we sort of dive into this a little bit more. But let's get this going. Like I said, I want to talk a little bit really quickly just about social media before I show you the social media posting wizard, because I feel like when it comes to social media for accounting firms, I think it can be difficult to sort of know where to start. You probably have heard a lot of people talking about the importance of social media for your business, but you might be a little bit hesitant to dive into it. You might not know exactly how to begin, or you've kind of started, but you still have a lot of questions about, you know, maybe what social media platforms should you use? How often should you be posting? Is it all this time and effort putting into social media really worth it? You might be thinking, I don't have time to manage the social media presence, or I haven't been using social media. Why do I need to do it now? And it's really not any surprise that a lot of accounting firms haven't fully jumped on the social media bandwagon just yet, or like I said, maybe you've dipped your toe in the water a little bit just to decide that it's way too cold. When we think about social media, we think about it in general as places where people are sharing like trending videos, funny pictures, and just like overall social content. And we don't always think about accounting as a really social industry, but the truth is social media has really sort of changed, and it's a really great place for businesses to be. And there is potential out there for accounting firms to leverage social media to their advantage to really sort of help elevate your firm's online presence, but also develop a level of trust and increase leads. So in my opinion, the key to success for accountants using social media is to focus your efforts on picking social media platforms that make sense for them, as opposed to sort of trying to tackle the do-it-all mentality where you think I need to have every single social media and I need to be doing them all. So attempting to like conquer every social media platform that there is. I say pick one or two that really make sense for you and do those and do them well. And then when you've chosen your platforms, you want to consistently post out valuable content. And that's where the content library can really come in handy. So once you're inside of the content library, if you haven't been in it before, I know when I asked you earlier, I think only about 8% of you had said you had used the social media posting wizard. So once you get into the content library, you're going to be presented with a list of categories. All of your articles are organized into these different categories. And once you choose a category, you're going to see a list of all of the articles that live inside of here. So, the business best practices, we've got, I think, almost 100 just in this category alone. You'll see all of the articles. You can use the search bar if you're searching for something specific. But once you're ready, you can always click on the title of the article. This is going to take you to your website. You can read the article in its entirety if you want to, read it a little bit more or get a direct link. Or you can click one of these social media posting links right here and just share this article directly out to social media. So what's going to happen if you click, say, Facebook or LinkedIn or Twitter, it's going to pull up a basic social media sharing button, and I'm sure you've seen before if you shared anything to your social media. You can write something about it and easily just post it right out to your Facebook page or your LinkedIn following. The link that it's going to generate is going to take people to your website to read this article. Like I said, these articles all live on your site. So when somebody clicks here, maybe 3 ways to make the most of your fundraising, it's going to take them back to the website where not only can they read the article, but it's going to have all of your information, your contact information, all of the information about your services. If they want to, request a free consultation, all of that will be right here. So it's just a really easy way to post content out to social media without having to really think about it, figure out where you're going to get the content from, what content are you going to send out, having to come up with the content yourself, which of course crafting your own content is going to be extremely time consuming. So it's just a really easy way to come in a couple times a month and make sure that you have valuable, relevant content about your industry and that your clients and prospective clients would find really valuable, that you have them out on your social media platforms, whichever ones you do decide to use. Now, a final place that you can use these articles from the content library is in a blog. A blog doesn't come standard with your Build Your Firm website, but we can install one for you for a one-time fee if you don't have one. And the reason a blog is a really great addition to your content marketing, there's a couple of reasons. The first one is the major search engines like Google, Bing, and Yahoo. They give really high priority to websites that regularly offer a steady stream of relevant content that's produced by a blog. So a blog is going to help you climb higher in the search engine. It's going to help boost your SEO. It's also going to help you showcase subject matter expertise, because you're going to be, if you choose to use the articles from the content library, it's all articles about accounting and tax, and it's going to really sort of position you as an expert, somebody who really knows your stuff inside of your industry. You can use it to create sort of an identity, a brand personality. You can personalize the blog posts a little bit more so that you can let your personality show through a little bit more and sort of break through the anonymity that is the internet. And then it also just acts as another way for potential clients to find you. Obviously, just like your website has SEO value, your blog has its own SEO value. So if somebody is searching for a topic that you've written a blog post about, you have the potential to show up in Google for somebody searching for that. So all of the articles inside the content library are available for you to use to post to your blog. So that's really a really nice thing, because when it comes to blogging, the biggest part, the biggest setback of blogging is that you have to come up with the content, and writing content is extremely time consuming. So using the content library, you really don't have to reinvent the wheel. You don't have to come up with blog post ideas or write the content every single month. So this is going to help you just easily post out that valuable, relevant content without taking a lot of time or effort. Now, the last thing that I want to mention that's available inside of your client dashboard is the reputation management area. And these are basically just going to be quick guides to help you set up yourself on Google Business or on Yelp. These are called local listings, and the local listings are really important to your overall content marketing strategy and sort of your online reputation. At Build Your Firm, we encourage our clients to not only get set up on local listings like Google and Yelp, but we also encourage them to take the time to actively get online reviews here, to add images, to complete the listing with business information. And that's why we offer those helpful free guides right inside the reputation management box inside of your client dashboard. Now, the reason that your local listings are important is for a couple of reasons. The first reason that they're really great is because they are good to boost your overall SEO. They do tie with your website, and they're going to help your website's overall SEO. The second thing that is really great about local listings is they act as a place where you can obtain online reviews. And this is really important to your lead generation because we know that more than 85% of people read online reviews before deciding to do business with a professional service like an accountant, a CPA, a bookkeeper. The average consumer now places a lot of weight on online reviews, and they want to look for a professional service that has some reviews that they can read. And sometimes they're a little more hesitant if they find a professional service that has no reviews because they don't have any of that review. They don't have any sort of weight to go against. They haven't sort of built up that level of trust to sort of break down that barrier to have them pick up the phone and call you. People with online reviews do tend to get a lot more phone calls coming through the door just because it really shows that it's sort of like social weight that people have left reviews, and this is what other real people say about this professional service. The last thing that's really, really important about your local listing that I always like to explain is that when you have your local listing set up, specifically your Google business listing, it allows you to show up in something that I call the Google Local Pack. So let me show you what that sort of means. Now, when someone searches for an accounting firm on Google, they're going to get a search result page that looks sort of like this one that you see on the screen. Here's somebody searching for an accounting firm in Wacom, Mississippi. They're going to see three main types of results. Now, these results at the top are paid results. These are ads that people are paying for to show up at the top of the page. This is called pay-per-click advertising. This is a service that Build Your Firm offers if you're interested, but all of these ones at the top are all going to be paid. You can't show up here if you're not paying for these ads. The next group of listings is the Google Local Pack. And the reason this is important is because if you're not set up on Google, you can't show up in this spot or show up on Google Maps. We get that question a lot. People will say, how come my business isn't showing up on Google Maps? That's not associated with your website at all. The only way to show up in the Google Local Pack or on the maps is if you're set up on Google Business. And that's why we really encourage our clients to do it. The final piece of results that you get here, kind of more towards the bottom, is going to be the organic placements. These are the results that are showing up due to the SEO that's happening on your website. So that's why obviously your local listings are so important to your overall content marketing strategy as a local professional service, somebody who has an actual address with a local professional service. So let's just revisit that DIY versus outsourced list once again for your content marketing strategy. Obviously, you can see that all of the tools that were available inside of your client dashboard will make it really, really easy for you if you decide to go the DIY route. Whether you want to use the content library to send articles out to your social media, you're going to set up an email newsletter, you're going to start writing in a blog, and then, if you're going to claim and manage your local listings. But if DIY isn't for you, or maybe you prefer to outsource your content marketing, Build Your Firm can help you there as well. So if you do want to go the outsourced route, you're not interested in taking this on in-house and doing it yourself, we do offer a service that I'll just tell you about really quickly here at the end of this webinar about our service is called Content Marketing in a Box. Content Marketing in a Box essentially takes all of those content marketing tasks that we just talked about, and it it allows us to basically do them for you. So the way the program works is you're going to be assigned a one-on-one Build Your Firm team member. It's either myself or somebody else on the team, and this person basically acts as your point of contact for any questions that you might have, and then are going to tackle all of your monthly content marketing tasks, all of these tasks that you see outlined on your screen. Getting you set up on Google Business, getting you set up on Yelp, making sure your accounting firm is listed properly on all of the local listings, helping you get online reviews, installing a blog on your website, posting SEO blog posts to your blog for you every single month, setting you up on social media like LinkedIn, posting content out to your LinkedIn, all of the things that are listed here. Is what we basically take over for you as part of Content Marketing in a Box. I will put this link here up on your screen, but I'm going to send you this direct link in the email I'm going to send you after this webinar. If you're interested in learning a little bit more about our Content Marketing in a Box program, this link will give you all the information that you need. All right, one last poll question, and then I'm going to jump into questions that you guys might have about content marketing. Just curious, what's your sort of biggest takeaways from today's webinar? You can choose any and all that apply. I'm going to close this poll here just in a second. All right, great. Thank you. It's helpful for me to sort of know where you guys stand. It looks like a lot of you are thinking about maybe using some of the tools that come with your website a little bit more, setting up an email newsletter. That's great. For those of you who say that you want or need to set up your email newsletter, all of that is available right inside your client dashboard. Like I said, I will send you an email after this webinar with a link right in there if you've never been in there before. And definitely go to the webinar library if you haven't used the email newsletter before, because there's a quick little like half-hour webinar in there just about that tool if you need to get started there. But I'm glad to hear some of you are also thinking about maybe doing a blog, that you're excited to start doing some content marketing, and that some of you are also thinking about maybe looking into the Content Marketing in a Box program. So that's really, really great. At this point, what I'm going to do is just open it up to any questions that you guys might have about some of the stuff that I talked about. Obviously, content marketing covers a lot of different tools and a lot of different things. And I tried to just sort of go through it and give you like a basic holistic overall understanding of the tools that we have and how you can utilize them. But any specific questions, I know that a few came in while I was teaching, so I'm going to hop into the chat box here in a second. But any questions that you might have about the tools, about the Content Marketing in a Box program, or about the content or anything, just let me know in the question boxes, and I'm going to get through those now. So let me just pull that up. I see one question here about social media, about what social media platforms do we recommend. I know one of the things that I mentioned was that I don't suggest that you try to tackle all of them. Usually, pick one or two that really make sense for you. So the two platforms in general that we suggest are going to be Facebook and LinkedIn. LinkedIn is usually the one that we suggest if you're not using any social media at all, because it is the most professional of the social media platforms. It's a great place to not only connect with colleagues and other professionals in your industry, but to connect with other local business owners who could very likely become clients of yours. Facebook is another good one. Facebook is good because it is a social media platform that also connects to your local like your local physical address, because you actually will put in your address when you create a Facebook page. So there is some local listing value to Facebook. Facebook, usually if you're already a Facebook user, if it's something that you are comfortable doing, you're comfortable using Facebook, then it can be really good. If you've never used Facebook before, you're not a Facebook user, then it's probably not going to be the best platform for you because you're going to have to, like reinvent the wheel and totally learn how to use the tool and find followers. Where on LinkedIn, it's a little bit easier because it kind of connects with your email account. It's going to help you find other people via your email, so it's easy to connect with other professionals. So those are the two that I usually recommend right off the bat. That's not to say that some of the other social media platforms cannot work for accounting firms. There are people who use Twitter and use it really, really well. But I would say when it comes to the other platforms, it's really like if you've used them before and you're comfortable with them, you could probably make them work. But if you've never used them before, it's not worth it to try to learn that entire platform. Question about the cost of content marketing in a box. So content marketing in a box, you can do it a couple of different ways. So if you are interested, I definitely suggest that you reach out to either myself and I can put you in contact with Nita, or if you've already chatted with Nita, she can explain it a little bit better. But there's a couple pricing options. There is just a standalone price for content marketing in a box, which is $279.99 a month. But you can also add it into your hosting. So if you upgrade your regular website hosting to Platinum Plus, that's going to give you a platinum level website hosting plus content marketing in a box for $299 a month. So you're saving anywhere from like $65 to $85 on that every month. And then on top of that, there's also an annual pricing, which saves you 15% on that price as well. So there's a couple different pricing options. So if you are interested in, like I said, I definitely suggest chatting. Either you see my email address here, feel free to just shoot me an email and I can put you in touch with Nita and you can sort of talk about the different pricing options, because there are a couple different ways to do it, and different ways to do it a little bit cheaper. Let's see. A question about if we have an affiliate program. So we don't currently have an affiliate program for our services or for our website services, but it is something that we're looking at possibly doing down the road, of having sort of a referral program, but it's not something that's currently live just yet. Let me see this question. I heard that if we post non-original content, that the search engines penalize you. So that's a good question. I've heard variations of that before. It's not true that non-original content is going to get penalized by search engines. What search engines don't like is they don't like essentially what they call duplicate content. So seeing the same content a million different times. And that becomes an issue if you have thousands and thousands of websites using the same exact content. Because your content for the content in the content library is getting pushed out to social media, or it's getting pushed out to a newsletter, it's not actually directly part of the SEO on your website. So you're not going to get penalized for that. On top of that, because there's so much of it and it's, we're not offering it to thousands and thousands and thousands of websites, it's exclusive just for our website clients. It does not become an issue with it being considered duplicate content by the search engine. So I hope that sort of answers the question. And even if you use it out to a blog, it's not being used so much that it's getting flagged as duplicate content. That's really when it's the same content being used over and over again. That is when search engines consider it sort of duplicate content, but that's not something that becomes an issue with our content. Question about if we help our clients set up Facebook and LinkedIn pages. As part of Content Marketing in a Box, we do. If you are a Content Marketing in a Box client, we will happily set up your Facebook and LinkedIn page or optimize it if you already have a page. It's not something we offer as a service just at the website level. So for just a website client, we're happy to sort of help you and answer any questions that you have, but we don't set up your social media pages unless you're part of the Content Marketing in a Box program. A question about content marketing in a box and the outsourced marketing program. So the outsourced marketing program is another service that we offer, and sort of, is what's content marketing in a box also included in the outsourced marketing program? And the answer is Essentially, yes. The outsourced marketing program is a much larger, more robust program where we take over all of your marketing, and it's a 3-year commitment. And so most of your content marketing is taken care of inside of the outsourced marketing program, but it's customized even more because we're really picking specifically which ones it matters for. So you wouldn't, if you were doing outsourced marketing program, you wouldn't also need to do content marketing in a box. It's what you would need for your content marketing is, yes, included as part of the outsourced marketing program. I see one question. I don't know if somebody can clarify. Bernie asked if you can modify the documents, and I think maybe he's talking about modifying the articles, the articles that come in the content library. So you can't modify the articles that live directly on your site, since that's just the library of articles. But if you did want to take those articles and post them out to, say, your blog, then certainly you can modify them however you want. We usually encourage you to modify them a little bit, add your own personalization, a call to action at the end, or what have you. But you can't modify the ones that live directly on your website, because those are just part of the library and they're pulling from the library. A question about if we're working in the insurance industry. So at this time, we work exclusively in the accounting industry. So we work just with bookkeepers, tax accountants, enrolled agents, CPAs, small accounting firms. So we are exclusive just to the accounting industry. So that answers that question. It looks like that is the majority of the questions that I got through. I saw a question about how do you get to your client dashboard. I think I answered that question, but like I said, I am going to be sending you an email about an hour after this webinar goes live. You'll get an email from me that has a link to your client dashboard for where you to get access to all of these tools, as well as a link to learn a little bit more about Content Marketing Box if you were interested in that. You see my direct email up here on the screen. If you have any questions or you want to chat about anything a little bit more, feel free to shoot me an email after this, and I'm happy to answer any other questions that you have. But I think that does it for questions. So I am going to close out the webinar here. Thank you so much for joining me for, sort of an early morning webinar, depending on where you're calling in from. It's already almost 10 o'clock here on the East Coast, but I hope that this helped you sort of get a better idea of what really content marketing is and how it would work for your accounting firm, and hopefully got you excited to use some of the tools that come with your website that maybe you're not already using. All those tools are included as part of your website service. If you decide to go the DIY route, it's no additional fee. Those are all available for you to use. But again, thank you so much for joining, and I hope to talk to you guys outside of today's webinar. Have a great weekend.